That was time well spent with Michael McMillan. Once again, I feel like I'm the one that's been inspired by that. In fact, immediately after this, I'm going to order a copy of his book, Pink Bat, because I'm so intrigued with the philosophy of taking a problem and realizing that our problem is someone else's solution. To me, one of the great things about talking with Michael is that the way he looks at the world is constantly driven not only by his curiosity, but also by his desire to make a positive difference and positive impact. He did make the point that ultimately we all have to die, and the real thing is, what do we do with the time that we have? I think we all enjoyed his story about realizing he had wasted 2 perfectly good hours when he could have been on the inner tube, sitting under the tree and feeling sorry for himself. And the reality is, he doesn't want his life to be like that. How often do we look at our own childhood lessons, the things that made us feel great, the things that made us feel awful, and realize that these lessons that we learned as kids also apply to things that we do today? Very powerful. In terms of growing a business, when do you let go? When do you let somebody run with something? He said there's sort of a mutual courtship process, and it's really based on being sure there's absolute philosophical alignment. And I think all of us, as we grow our organizations and our companies, we want to be able to hand things off to people. But they're not always going to be at that entrust stage until we are absolutely sure about that philosophical alignment. We believe, in fact, that there's 4 stages of actually working with people. The first stage is to educate. When somebody doesn't know what to do, we simply frustrate them by asking them to do it. Once they have the basics down, we can move into a coaching phase where we can help them get to a different level of achievement. After that, we want to challenge. Can they stretch? Can they do more? Can they apply themselves? Can they start to create on their own? And then ultimately, entrust. And Michael has done that repeatedly as he's grown his organization, as he's helped others grow, and he's managed his own life in such a great way. Another thing I wrote down that he said, we all have our shortcomings. The danger is when our identity becomes those shortcomings. So when we find people that respect us, they can point out the things that we do well. And if we can hang our confidence on the things that we do well, then the things that we don't do as well don't become barriers. Above all, they don't become shackles, and we can move past that. Everybody's got strengths, everybody's got weaknesses. If we can learn how to rely on our strengths, then the weaknesses don't have to slow us down. Really powerful. Also, I was encouraged when he said, we learn from life. And those lessons of life, that every day, do we take a few minutes to reflect? Do we pause at the end of the day and say, what was this day all about? What was it for? We've had so many guests here that have talked about how they start their day, and fundamentally starting the day with the realization that this day is an opportunity. And then at the end of the day, do we evaluate? Do we reflect and say, yeah, something occurred, not what I expected to have occur, but it went in a good way, and I'm happy about that. I'm inspired by the simple quote, I find mediocrity repulsive. Mediocrity is when we do less than our best. It's when we know that there's more there that we should be applying, and we simply don't do it. Nobody has good feelings from that. And so as we move forward, inspired by what Michael shared, let's also avoid mediocrity. Let's just get rid of it. It doesn't have to be a part of it. Surround ourselves with the right kind of people, move forward, understand our values and our principles, never violate them, and move forward confidently. Thanks so much for being with us, and we look forward to next time on The Action Catalyst. This is Dan Moore. Have a great day.